Oh man, so Russell Simmons urges Kanye West to fix things with the Jewish community, and he also says that even the black community has a lot of things to be upset with Kanye West about. He says we do not want to create a monster in regards to people that are reacting to his statements, even if it wasn't his intentions. He needs to go and fix things. Listen to Russell Simmons talk right here. We'll come back with a little commentary towards the end of the video.
We are treading on dangerous water now. And I wanted to say this. I've said this privately to leadership. Black leadership understands a little better because they see the deep-seated resentment. And whether it's founded or not, they see it. I've spoken to Jewish leadership, some of the people whose job it is to protect against attacks on their community. And one said something simple. He said, oh, well, he's done, referring to Kanye. You know, when I was the chairman of the Foundation for Ethnic Understanding, for 20 years, I would spar with an ally, but yet an adversary. His name was Abe Foxman. He was the chairman of the ADL. And the reason I became chairman of the Foundation for Ethnic Understanding, which kind of had the same mission, was because there was a rift between the Jewish community and Minister Farrakhan. And Minister Farrakhan became much more powerful and famous because of this rift. Because he would not, they didn't have dialogue. I set up dialogue with Rabbi Snyder, who was the president of the Foundation for Ethnic Understanding, and Elie Wiesel, and Elon Steinberg and others, and Cornel West and Reverend Jackson and Reverend King, Martin Luther King III, and Reverend Sharpton. So they all came to my house. Some did not show up. Elie Wiesel did not show up. They were already upset by statements made, and they would not have dialogue. So it was Elie Wiesel and Israel Singer didn't show up. But there was a nice dialogue, which I would love to have publicized or even put on television, between Minister Farrakhan and Rabbi Snyder. That was 20-some-odd years ago. And after I saw the trouble that Rabbi Snyder got in for having the courage to come to this meeting, I immediately took my role as secretary of the Foundation for Ethnic Understanding and turned it into chairman. I accepted the role as chairman. And I worked for a lot of years. And Abe Foxman, back to Abe Foxman, was the chairman, I guess his title was, of the ADL. The problem is, during the time that Louis Farrakhan was, and I was seeking to create dialogue, there was no real interest, because it's easier, as it had been with Marcus Garvey and Reverend Jackson and Reverend Sharpton and countless other black leadership, just to point out the mistake made and the words that are so hurtful made by these leaders, and then they would walk away. And that's right. They said that I said something about the Holocaust with animals, and they came after me and said, Russell, don't say Holocaust, it's such a hurtful word to the community. So I immediately apologized. It was not a problem for me. And the same with Will Smith, as I said, and countless other black celebrities and leadership. We generally walk away. Because who wants to fight over hurt people? Hurt people, and some members of the black community are hurting. Is why this reaction is coming. But not only the black community, poor people who need to point fingers are coming out of the woodwork. And Kanye is the only person, and not by a disingenuine, but by a genuine response. And I'm not saying he's disingenuous. I'm saying that they are not taking the clips where I've seen him be a little more genuine about his apology or his intention. His intention was not to cause more pain or to have more people come out and be anti-Semites, because he himself is not an anti-Semite. Kanye West is not an anti-Semite. He has questions. He has said some rude stuff, crude stuff. Horrible stuff if you're a person who comes from a community and perhaps your grandmother was in a concentration camp. It's horrible what he said. Does he understand the gravity of what he said? Perhaps not. But what we want is for him to undo the harm. Our brother never met a Jew. Most black people never even met a Jew. You know, if you're not in New York and LA and Miami, we don't want to hate people for our problems. We want to embrace people and understand their problems, and we want to build bridges and have them understand, as they have in the past, in many cases, the problems of the black community. We want to build a bridge between two peoples who are both under fire. White supremacy is sitting back and pointing the finger at blacks and Jews right now. So what we want to do is build a bridge. I don't know what my algorithm is, but it just keeps popping up. They cancel this. They cancel that. My first response is, Kanye, go and apologize for the things that were unintended and fix them. Publicly go to a museum. Learn. Personally learn why these words are so hurtful and how you have maybe created a wave of hate that is bigger than you and scarier than you. Black leadership knows the pain in the black community. Jewish leadership knows the pain in the Jewish community and the threat of these words and how they can multiply. Attacking Kanye will not help us. Oh, we hate Kanye, he shouldn't have said it. None of that will help. And this is what my fight with Abe Foxman was over all the years. Every time he called out someone, I thought, all their fans are mad. If I had a nickel for every time someone called me and said, there they go again, with Charlemagne, or, Tamika Mallory, or, God, every single black leader has said things that have been off color or maybe insensitive. But we cannot label everyone an anti-Semite, because then their fans are triggered, and then real anti-Semites come out of the woodwork, and this is not the desired effect. The desired effect is to promote love and reconciliation. And in this case, since we're talking business, partnerships and growth. What I said about Kanye the other day was misconstrued. Someone said he said it was good that he was canceled. I pointed out that I worked on sneakers in the case of Adidas. And I said that we made our own sneakers. Kanye, you can make your own. You can be an inspiration. But if you make your own or own your own, still go to the best makers. Many times they will be your new Jewish partners if you start over. We need to educate our brother, not destroy him. Destroying Kanye will not be good for the most important goal, which is the desired effect, which is the bridge building between our two communities. The history of blacks and Jews is that Jews, although white and almost partly like the white oppressor, they were there in places where the white WASP were not. They were helpful in times when no one else was. And in the future, we should bridge a gap and build a future that is inclusive of black empowerment, more inclusive of black empowerment. I told my history, jewelry, fashion, film, television, financial services, records. I say movies, all of it, always with Jews. And I owned my portion. I was not owned. No one controlled me. And no one can control Kanye. If he will build a bridge, but we don't need the constant bashing of Kanye, it will not solve our problem or give us the effect that is necessary, which is the banding together of two people who have a common enemy in white supremacy. Oh, I think Jews are saying it's too late. Well, it's not too late. We got to fix it. It's not too late. I saw one podcast with him and a Jewish fella recently, very big. Someone sent it to me. And he apologized, and he's working to rebuild, apologize for what he said that he believes was hurtful. But he's working to build a whole new network. Don't stop him in front of black people because it will cause more anger. Support his growth and his education. And I think that is a more healing path than this strike him down. Again, it did not help any time that I remember attacking someone publicly when you can speak to them privately. I'm saying this publicly. I can't call every single body, but I'm trying to explain a strategy to everyone that is more healing than the public, because I just keep getting every 5 minutes. He's done. They did it to him. People are angry. They don't know why. They're angry. They're pointing fingers because of the suffering in the black community and in underserved communities in general. White supremacists are made up of people who want to point fingers for their problems. And rather than emulating and borrowing and working with the Jewish community, it's easier to point fingers. So that's it. I've said this before, but blacks ain't angry. Yeah, I know. Blacks have lots to be angry for with Kanye, but they're triggered by this recent attack on him in ways that I think people don't understand. You know, the last thing I'll say is that I wrote a very loving letter to Donald Trump after his most hateful words. It was on the cover of many newspapers across the country. And what I wrote was, we know you better than that. Please. And let's build a bridge. All your partners were Jewish. That was Trump when he was an anti-Semite, right? All your other partners were black. All your friendships, your ex-girlfriend, Trump, we know you better than that. So why are you writing that nice letter? Because in the absence of a bridge, Trump found his other friends, narcissist that he was. He found his friends. His friends were the people who hated those other people. And they kind of liked Donald Trump. They made him their leader. And the media could not shut Donald Trump down, right? They published my letter on the cover. They wrote horrible things about him. They made him rise to the presidency. They were not able to stop him. People are so discontent. Like, I noticed on Charlemagne's show that they talked about Kanye and they were very negative, and as black people, there's a lot of anger towards Kanye, and they were negative about his comments about Jews and about blacks. And the people were 80% in support of Kanye. We don't want to create a monster. We want to empower a person who can empower his community or can at least give example to how we can own our own businesses or support. Kanye is not important in this scenario. The scenario that we're hopeful for is a bridge building of two communities. Why do I care? I spent 25 years doing this. God gives you certain purpose. And Dharma, yogis call it. It's something that I did for many years. I was not a black or a Muslim. Most of the work I did after fixing, after fixing as much as we did, we were the address for black-Jewish relations. Most of the work that we did was Muslim-Jewish relations. With this, because the rise in anti-Semitism is swift and it's scary, and I understand the pain as much as a black man can understand the pain that's in the Jewish community, but I also understand the pain that's in the black community and in the underserved communities, and whether it is the right way of going about it or not, we understand why leadership and support systems of the Jewish community are so angry, so swift in their condemnation of his words and his presence. But, underserved and hurt people are also rising, and hate and hurt people, and hate can rise very quickly from people who are suffering. And we just want to create a bridge. That's it. I talk too much. Love you all. Namaste, yogis. Have a good day.
So Russell Simmons is a person who has a lot of experiences in his lifetime, and he's trying his best to go ahead and be a translator for Kanye, and as well as trying to transmit his own messages to Ye so he can go ahead and make things right, because I know he doesn't want to see things go for the worse. But what do you guys think about all this right here? Do you think he's coming from the right place? Do you guys think he's being too apologetic, or do you think it's the right thing to go ahead and build that bridge that Russell was alluding to between the black community and the Jewish community? Let me know in the comment section below. I'm gonna go and get up out of here though. This has been another update with Stace. Yo, the Godspeed merch collection is out right now, featuring the basic Godspeed tee that I have on right here, as well as the premium oversized Godspeed tee. Make sure y'all go ahead and get right. Hey man, it's Godspeed on the road to your purpose.